Are the LA Kings the best home team in the NHL? We'll talk about that and their latest home win over a big-time opponent. That's next in this edition of Locked On LA Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Kings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Kings fans, welcome to Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On LA Kings your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and we are on YouTube. I'm Eddie Garcia, your host of Locked On LA Kings. I've worked in sports media for the past 30 years, also co-host of the Puck Podcast, a weekly NHL review show that's been putting out content for the last 18 years, and a passionate LA Kings fan for over 30 years. The LA Kings played game number 37 of the NHL season, game number 3 of their 5-game homestand, as they were riding a 7-game home ice winning streak after back-to-back wins over the Oilers and Flyers. The New Jersey Devils, the team with the second most wins and points in the Eastern Conference, were in town for a New Year's Day afternoon game, the only game on the entire NHL schedule. This was the second and final regular season meeting between the two teams. Devils won the first matchup in New Jersey 3-1 back on December the 12th. And it's hard when you see these two teams on the ice, if you're of a certain age, I guess, to not think back to the 2012 Stanley Cup final won by the Kings over the Devils for the first Stanley Cup championship in Kings franchise history. As for the lineup in this latest matchup between the Kings and Devils, a very familiar matchup that we've seen lately. Once again, the Kings staying with this 11-7 setup, 11 forward, 7 defensemen that they've used for many, many games now, and to great success. Top line of Anze Kopitar centering Alex Turcotte and Adrian Kempe. Second line of Quentin Byfield with Tanner Jeannot and Warren Foegele. Third line of Philip Deneau with Kevin Fiala and Alex Laferriere. The fourth line had Samuel Helenius at center with Andre Lee as the other winger, with the third winger being rotated amongst the other players. Turcotte, Foegele, Laferriere, Byfield even seeing some time. The defense, also the same. Mikey Anderson with Vladislav Gavrikov on the top pairing. Joel Edmondson and Brant Clark, the second pairing. Jacob Moverar and Jordan Spence, the third pairing. And Kyle Burrows was the extra defensive player. Darcy Kemper back in net after having Sunday off. David Riddick would serve as the backup. The big question for me going into this game, pretty simple. Would the Kings once again step up to the challenge of beating one of the best teams in the NHL on home ice? As far as the game summary in this one, we had a scoreless opening period. Thought the Kings had a couple more quality scoring chances than the Devils, particularly Adrian Kempe with a big wrist shot. Also a 2-on-1 with Quentin Byfield and Warren Foegele. The Kings failed to convert on, thanks to a great save from New Jersey goalie Jake Allen. Devils had the edge in overall shots, though, in the opening period, 15-8. Both teams had one power play opportunity and failed to score. In the second period, we'd finally get our first goal of the game from an unlikely source. It was the first ever NHL goal for Kings forward Andre Lee as LA grabbed the 1-0 lead. That was the only goal of the period, although New Jersey thought they scored, and frankly, so did I. We'll talk more about that coming up. Jim Hiller, though, challenging for goalie interference. He won the challenge, and it would be 1-0 Kings after 2 periods. In the third period, the Kings' best period all season long, the Kings would get the next goal. Adrian Kempe into an empty net with the Devils down late. Actually, I'm missing one here. I know Quentin Byfield would score a goal to make it 2-0. And then late in the game, it was Adrian Kempe with the empty netter to seal the victory. The only question would be, would Darcy Kemper get the shutout? The answer was yes. The Kings win it 3-0, improving to 22-10-5 on the season for their 49th point. The Kings are 13-2-1 on home ice, the best home ice winning percentage in the NHL, and they have now won 8 straight games on home ice. As for the game stats in this one, if it was just about the stats, then the Devils would have won the game, but that's not the way it works. LA with the 3-0 lead, where it counts on the scoreboard. Shots on goal favored New Jersey 33-24. Power play, New Jersey was 0 for 6. The Kings were 0 for 3. Faceoffs favored the Devils 35-21. Hits favored New Jersey 23-15. Block shots did favor LA 20-14. So what was good from a team standpoint for the Kings? Well, obviously, first and foremost, the penalty kill. New Jersey came in with the number 2 ranked power play in the NHL, and the Kings held them to 0 for 6 with the man advantage. Now, it's a little bit deceiving. A couple of those were partial power plays because of penalties that were taken, by New Jersey. So there were a few power plays they had that weren't the full allotment of 2 minutes. But overall, still, they had some quality chances, and the Kings got the job done on the penalty kill. Team defense in this one, standing tall, defense forwards, and of course goaltending to keep New Jersey off the scoreboard because they have a very talented power plays. That was certainly the biggest thing, I think, from a team standpoint for the Kings, as far as the team overall defense as well. Anytime you get a shutout, it's not just about the goaltending, it's about the entire team playing great defense, and the Kings have obviously hung their hat on that fact for the entire season. And it's been their identity, as we've talked about for the last few seasons. Another thing for the Kings, I think, from a team standpoint, another strong third period, all right? Just a 1-goal lead going into the third, but the Kings do a great job of closing out wins when they have the opportunity. I don't have the stat right now, but I'm pretty sure the Kings have not lost a game this season when they have led going into the third period. So great penalty kill, great overall team defense, and again, closing it out in the third period. What was not so good from a team standpoint for the Kings, the power play continues to be an issue. At least the Kings actually had some power play opportunities, though. That's been an issue lately where they might get one a game, maybe. Having 3 in this game is at least, giving you more of an opportunity to potentially get a power play goal. But honestly, right now, I would say the only thing that Kings fans can legitimately complain about the Kings from a team standpoint is the power play. Now, there might be some other things that you might wish they were better at, but I mean, an honest to goodness, like complaint about the team, it's the power play, and I don't think there's anything else. As far as this specific game, you could certainly take issue with the number of penalties that the Kings took. There were a couple of calls. There was one on Quentin Byfield that was just an awful call, but 4 minor penalties and a double minor late. Obviously, too many penalties. That's not something you want to do, especially against a team that's got a very good power play. Fortunately, though, again, for the Kings, the PK showed up, and New Jersey had some missed opportunities, but again, Kings getting the job done. I did want to mention Jim Hiller. I don't have a coach's quote for you from this game, but Jim Hiller, there was a key moment in this game where he made a decision that I completely disagreed with, and I was proven wrong. Second period, I mentioned it earlier, 1-0 Kings. The Devils looked like they tied it up, but Jim Hiller challenged for goalie interference, and watching it on the replay and watching it real time, I didn't see it. And watching it again and again, I'm like, I don't see goalie interference here. Now, Darcy Kemper did have his stick kind of get in between the legs of a New Jersey player his skates were right at the top of the blue paint in the crease. So I guess Darcy couldn't get his stick over, I guess, in time. To me, I don't know if there is a thing anymore in the NHL as incidental contact with a goaltender, but to me, that's incidental contact. I don't know that Darcy Kemper was really prevented from playing his position, which is what goalie interference is all about. Regardless, I was wrong. I thought that was a bad challenge. I thought that the Kings were going to be tied 1-1. And with a failed challenge, that means a power play for New Jersey. And then we talked about how great their power play was. I didn't think it was worth the risk. But again, I was proven wrong. Kudos to video coordinator Samson Lee, who maybe alerted Jim Hiller to that. In the end, though, that's Jim Hiller's call. Whether to challenge or not is up to the head coach. And he made the call. Turned out to be the right call. Was a huge moment in the game. And I'll give him full credit for that. Maybe I don't know the rule. And certainly I'm sure he does. But I will say this. If that goal had been a Kings goal that was wiped away because of goal interference, I would have been upset about it. But again, he made the call, turned out to go in the favor of the Kings, and you got to give him kudos for that. By the way, the Kings are now 27-5-2 at home since Jim Hiller took over as head coach of the Kings last season. So my big takeaway from this win, I think the Kings are the best home team in the NHL. Now, the record speaks for itself. I mentioned the Kings have the best winning percentage on home ice, but look at the teams they've beaten on home ice as well. And this was a question kind of earlier in the year. We're like, oh, well, they haven't really played anyone. They've beaten the top 2 teams in the West, the Jets and the Golden Knights. They've beaten two of the top 5 teams in the NHL. Talked about the Devils being the second best team in the East. The Minnesota Wild are also top 5 in the NHL. They've beaten them as well. Throw in some really nice wins over the Oilers and the Stars, and the Kings have beaten some really good teams on home ice. Of course, they need to do a little bit more of that on the road, I suppose, to be considered, one of the great top teams in the entire NHL. They're kind of in the conversation, I think, or they're putting themselves in the conversation. But if we're talking about specifically on home ice, I don't know that there's a better team in the NHL right now on home ice than your LA Kings. And if you're going out to crypto.com arena, if you're a season ticket holder, you're enjoying it. You're having a good time. And this is a fun time to be a Kings fan right now. So enjoy it. Have fun with it. Get out to, if you haven't gotten a chance to get out to crypto, get out there and see this team because, like I said, I think they're the best team in the NHL on home ice right now. All right, we're going to take a look at some of the individual players from this win over the Devils. We'll do that next here on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. Those of us that live here in Southern California obviously having a good time going out to the Kings games right now, but there's so many live events we get to see living in a city like Los Angeles. Of course, sports. You've got 2 NFL teams that are playing and going to make the playoffs. You've got 2 NBA teams that are going at it right now. Of course, you've got the Kings as well. But it's not just about sports. You got theater events, concerts, comedy shows. And when you check out these events, you need to do what I do, and that is use Gametime for all your ticket needs. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks. It makes getting tickets for live events even easier. It filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. They've got something called all-in pricing. It features the total up front, no surprise fees at checkout. You can check the vantage point from a panoramic view from your seat from the app before you buy, so you know exactly the view you're going to get, and you'll get the lowest price guaranteed, which is the most important, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. All right, let's look at some of the individual players that shined in the win over the Devils. Obviously, we usually always start with the goaltender, and certainly you got to start with the goaltender in this one, who had a shutout. Darcy Kemper, another very strong game, turned aside all 33 shots that he saw for his second shutout this season with the Kings. Continues to be great for LA this season, bouncing back from a subpar season a year ago where he lost his starting job in Washington. You would never know it from watching his performance this year. Obviously, he's helped out a lot by having a very sound defensive team in front of him, but still quality saves in this one against a very good team that had a lot of shots on him. Great job by Darcy Kemper, shutting out a team that is top 10 in goals scored per game in the New Jersey Devils. So obviously an impressive outing for Darcy Kemper. I thought his rebound control was really good. Kemper gets his first ever win over the Devils, by the way, which was a little surprising. And since coming back from his injury, his latest injury, he's 6-0-2. So I'd say, there was some concern. He had gone down twice this year with a couple of little issues, and I was concerned maybe this was something that was going to bother him all year long. So far, that has not been a concern for Darcy Kemper. Overall in the season now, Kemper 10-2-5. He has lowered his goals against average and raised his save percentage, obviously, with that shutout victory over New Jersey. Andre Lee. Okay, if you follow me on X or Twitter, I kind of called this. I said with a post for no particular reason, who wants to see Andre Lee or Samuel Helenius get their first NHL goals tonight? And just a couple of minutes later, Andre Lee scored to get the Kings the 1-0 lead. And what a great goal for your first NHL goal. Not only does it end up being the game-winning goal against a really good team, but it was also just a beautiful goal. Now, nobody's going to complain about any goal they score, but sometimes you'll see a guy get his first NHL goal and it'll be some shot that goes off somebody's skate and in or something like that. This was a hustle move to a loose puck, winning a race, and then roofing it top bar down off the crossbar and into the net with a great wrist shot. That's like an Adrian Kempe type finish. So good on Andre Lee for a highlight reel goal to get his first NHL goal, and again have it being a meaningful goal as well. Now he's not going to do that probably very often. There was another play though that I thought, put this in a highlight, show it to him and say, this is what we want you to do every time. He gets to the puck. He dumps it in the zone. He chases his own dump in wins the battle on the boards, gets it out to the point, and sets up the Kings for a possession where they actually got a pretty good scoring chance. That's textbook what you want from Andre Lee. So he did exactly what I think Jim Miller is expecting him to do most of the time. And then he did something that none of us really expected him to do, which was score a goal, a beautiful goal for a game winner. That was an awesome moment for the LA Kings and obviously for Andre Lee. Quentin Byfield scoring another big goal in the third period to give the Kings a 2-0 cushion and a little breathing room. Obviously, this was looking to be a low-scoring game against two really good teams. The Kings, though, locking it down on home ice. For Q, though, a nice one-timer, a pass off the boards that he just immediately shot and beat the goaltender, Jake Allen. I think it was 5-hole or got under his pad. But Q's on fire right now. Right now, 6 goals, 9 points in 8 games. So that will definitely get it done. Also had a great pass to Warren Fogle on a 2-on-1 that unfortunately Fogle couldn't convert on. A great save by the goaltender, but another good game for Quentin Byfield. Just wanted to point out Warren Fogle and Kevin Fiala for the energy that they bring and just making things happen when they've got the puck on their stick. Fogle had the primary assist on the Kempe empty net goal. He's got 12 assists on the season, 24 points. Kevin Fiala came close. He had a great backhand chance in the third period, and he got robbed by New Jersey goalie Jake Allen. But I thought Fiala was one of the Kings that stood out in this one as well. On the power play in particular, Kevin made a lot of good plays, and he's getting more. He's getting all the ice time. He's still playing the full 2 minutes of the power play, but he had a couple of really nice plays to keep the puck alive and get it to the point to where the Kings could set up the power play. So good work on the power play by Kevin Fiala. And just overall, I thought Warren Fogle and Kevin Fiala continued to bring a lot of energy for the LA Kings and making things happen positively. Mikey Anderson, a 2-assist game for Mikey. Now a couple of secondary assists, but still 8 assists and 12 points now in the season for the defensive defenseman. Oh, by the way, though, also doing what he does best, and that's play great shutdown defense. 25 minutes and 52 seconds of ice time for Mikey. I believe that's the third straight game now he's led the Kings in time on ice. But again, great defense from Mikey Anderson. Had a couple of strong plays and just playing some great defense. Nice to see him get a couple of points as well. Adrian Kempe, team leading 18th goal of the season. I'm not sure how many of them have been into an empty net. I'm gonna guess maybe 5 empty net goals for Juice, but call him. He's the guy applying the daggers, and you can say what you want about empty net goals. But most of these goals are, you're putting a team away. These are important goals. So 36 points now on the season for Kempe, second on the team in the 18 goals, again, leading the team in goals. And I have to mention Anze Kopitar. No points for the captain, but he did pick up his first penalty of the season. 2 minutes for holding New Jersey's Luke Hughes. Game 36 for the Kings, and Anze Kopitar commits his first penalty of the season. We've got some other things to talk about, but I want to go ahead and give our 3 stars of the night. And sometimes I disagree with who the actual 3 stars are that are announced in the arena. I do not in this case. My 3 stars are the exact same 3 stars that they announced at the game. The number 3 star is Mikey Anderson for his 2-assist night and his great defense all around. Andre Lee gets the number 2 star for his game-winning goal. Normally, if you get a game-winning goal and you get your first goal, normally that gets you the number 1 star. But in this case, we got to go with Darcy Kemper. 33 save shutout against a very, very good New Jersey Devils team. That gets goalie Darcy Kemper the number 1 star for me, and he was the number 1 star by the folks that pick it for the LA Kings as well. All right, the Kings were involved in I mentioned it earlier, the only game on the New Year's Day schedule. So obviously they gained ground in the standings. We'll give you the details on that. Plus, we've got a rain report, which we weren't able to get to the last couple of days because they played a game as well. And we will do that next here on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. Hey, get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's number 1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, if you would like, play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. The NFL season is winding down. We've got the playoffs right around the corner. I mentioned it, both the Chargers and the Rams are in the playoffs. exciting time to be an NFL fan in Los Angeles. And the NFL is always fun, regardless if you're a big football fan like I am. Just visit fanduel.com and join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's fanduel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, so the Kings have now played 3 games on this 5-game homestand, and they're a perfect 3-0, which is awesome. Still 2 tough games to go. Saturday at home against the always difficult Tampa Bay Lightning, and then they'll wrap it up with a divisional game against the Calgary Flames next Wednesday. And then they hit the road for another 5-game road trip, which includes road games at Winnipeg and Edmonton. So still some tough games to be played for the LA Kings, and they've gotten the job done at home for sure. Let's see if they can carry this over on the road. But still 2 more games, though, before they get to that. Looking at the Pacific Division standings, though, the Kings did gain some ground on the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas actually lost to the Montreal Canadiens on Tuesday. First of all, a rare loss, and a rare loss to them on home ice to a not-so-great team. Vegas, though, on the season, great record, 25-9-3 for 53 points. The Kings now with that win over the Devils, as I mentioned, 22-10-5, 49 points. So they're 4 points back of first place. They're also now 2 points up on Edmonton for the second spot in the division. The Kings are 11-2-2 in their last 15. But again, only good enough for a 2-point lead on the Oilers right now. Edmonton 22-12-3 for 47 points. We do have time to give you a rain report. Check it in on the Kings AHL affiliate. On Monday, we didn't have time to do it because we were recapping 2 games from over the weekend. Tuesday, we had a special guest with Mikey Alexander. Don't call me Mikey Anderson. So now we have a little bit of time to let you know that the Kings are playing well right now. So are the Ontario Reign. Now, they did lose last Friday, to the Gulls, the Ducks AHL affiliate in San Diego, but it wasn't a shootout, so they got a point out of it. 4-3 was the final. Francesco Pinelli had 2 goals, numbers 5 and 6 in the season for him. Arthur Kaliev scored a goal in this one before getting called up to the Kings. Eric Portillo took the loss in net. He allowed 3 goals on 34 shots. He stopped 3 of 4 shooters he saw in the shootout. Kings bounced back the next night, Saturday at home against the Coachella Valley Firebirds with a 4-3 shootout win of their own. Francesco Pinelli, a goal, his 7th. Jeff Malott, his 5th. And Samuel Fagimo, his 16th. Glenn Gaudin, Malott, and Fagimo also scored in the shootout. Fagimo gets the game winner. Phoenix Copley got the win in net. He allowed 2 goals on 22 shots and stopped 1 of the 3 shooters that he faced in the shootout, which was good enough because all the Kings shooters scored. And then on yesterday, the Reign picked up a 4-3 win on the road over the Henderson Silver Knights, the Vegas Golden Knights AHL affiliate. 4-3 was the final. Taylor Ward scored the only goal of the opening period, his 3rd of the season. After falling behind 2-1, the Reign rebound with goals from Jack Studnicka, his 5th, and Glenn Gaudin, his 10th. Francesco Pinelli, hot right now for the Reign. He scored his 8th of the year. So he had a goal in each of the last 3 games, and that would turn out to be the game winner. Eric Portillo got the win in net with a 40-save performance. So the Reign are now 18-8-1 on the season. They are 8-0-1 in their last 9 games. So the Kings have won 8 straight at home. The Reign have won 8 of 9 overall, and that one loss was in a shootout, so they picked up a point as well. Coming up for the Ontario Reign, they've got a game Friday at home against the San Diego Gulls, and then Saturday they are hosting the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Hey, wrapping it up real quick, World Junior Championships, the Kings have some big-time prospects playing in this big event. Carter George, the goaltender for Canada, also second-round pick this year for the Kings. He finally allowed a goal after 2 straight shutout victories. Unfortunately, it was in a 4-1 loss to their rivals, the United States. 3 of the goals that he allowed, or all 3 goals he allowed in that loss, were all power play goals, as Canada did a poor job taking a lot of penalties. And meanwhile, you've got American netminder and Kings draft pick Hampton Slakinski. He's 1-0 in the tournament. He's allowed 1 goal in 1 start. He's the number 2 goalie for the U.S., but he's played well also. Also, not to be forgotten is Kings' second-round pick and Ontario Reign defenseman, 19-year-old Jakub Dvorak. He's got a goal in 4 games playing for his native Czechia, and he will be in action taking on Canada and Carter George in the quarterfinals on Thursday, and the U.S. and Hampton Slakinski will face Switzerland in a quarterfinal match also on Thursday. If you get a chance to check those out, especially get a chance to see Carter George, those games are all on the NHL Network. And he's an exciting prospect to see for your LA Kings. All right, for you everydayers, those of you that listen and watch Locked On LA Kings every day, on Thursday, Kings former player and current analyst Daryl Evans scheduled to join us. He'll talk about this win over the Devils and how the Kings are playing of late. And of course, on Friday, it's another Kings fan feedback show, your chance to voice your opinions on the LA Kings. Are they the best home team in the NHL? Are you impressed with what you're seeing from the LA Kings? If you want to get in on that, send an email to lockedoneddie@gmail.com, EDDIE. Always welcome to post your thoughts if you're watching on YouTube in the comment section. And we'd love you to stay connected with the show, following us on X, Twitter, and Instagram. We're at Locked On LA Kings. I'm Eddie Garcia. Thanks as always for listening and watching this episode of Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you on Thursday. And as always, go Kings, go.